Hello, how are you?
Hello. Oh, I'm all right.
Still alive?
Parrot, unfortunately.
Um,
Rona has not yet got to me, or if it has, I'm asymptomatic. We shall
uh,
wait and see.
you draw. Yeah, we'll wait and see, I guess. You told me that COVID in your area is a bit of an issue.
It's a shit fuck because I live in Tasmania and virtually everything on this island is a shit fuck. But you throw COVID at it and it's like, oh crap. um,
You guys are in
so
such a good position too, so isolated from everyone. It's
yeah, that would be such a great way to cope with COVID is being this isolated island that doesn't let anyone in like Western Australia and oh look at them. They're actually, mask free, virtually COVID free. But then Peter Gutwin, who surprise surprise is a liberal, aka Australia's versions of a Republican. Liberal has very different meaning here. We've discussed this before. So Gutwin has opened the borders. He's like, nah mate, come on in. Fucking go nuts. Let it rip. So, and I'm absolutely going to get political on this issue. Gutwin ran the election, or he called the election right after he'd been all tough on COVID. Tasmania first. Separate us from the mainland. I'm not like Scott Morrison. I'm a good liberal politician. I care about you. So he ran with that at his platform. And he called the election right after he'd shut the borders down and managed COVID well. And that election was earlier in 2021. And then now it's late 2021. He's already won the election. He's guaranteed his term. He's like, nah, you're all fucked. Bye. Let him in. Let him in. Let him in. Come on. Like to get into Tasmania, the rule is like you have to provide a negative rat test or like proof of negative test before you come in. And it's like you can be positive for COVID and still show up negative on those tests. Those tests only really detect it when you're like 6 days into COVID. So if you take a test when you're like day 2 of COVID, you're like, mini cough, but I'll be right. Take a test, you're fine. No COVID. And
mm,
then you come into Tasmania and then fucking go on your tourist spree, rip through the whole fucking state going and seeing everything that exists in the state, and you're just a plague rat essentially. So that's what tourists are to me, plague rats. And I will not be mentioning my job for personal security reasons,
yeah.
but I work in hospitality and like 90%, 95% of the people coming into my job are tourists because any normal Tasmanian is kind of like, oh yeah, this shit's not good. We should probably stay inside and not go places and kind of avoid this virus. And then the tourists like, let's fucking go everywhere. So I work with tourists and I'm kind of a selfish cunt because I'm like, fuck it. If I have to work with these bloody tourists for my job to get an income, then I'm going to do what I want to do when I have my days off. So fuck it. I'm going to karate class tomorrow. I watched Cobra Kai on Netflix. I've binged Cobra Kai. I am now a karate champion. So therefore, I'm going to fucking karate tomorrow. I don't care if I'm spreading the blows. If all these people are spreading it to me, I'm spreading it back to them. I'm just angry at everything in the world right now.
It sounds like it. Um,
Just a bit.
we should get onto the K-pop stuff. Um,
That too.
just so all the people who follow me and the K-pop fans don't listen to this and think, oh my God, more COVID stuff. I'm here sick of hearing about COVID. Turn it off. Um,
It's like you can put a mark in. It's just like skip to 5 minutes 34 seconds to avoid AustralianSana having a COVID-induced meltdown.
I'm actually going to write
And
that
for
in the
the record, I
context.
am following. Yeah, for the record, I am like wearing mask, following regulations, double vaxxed. I am not as I'm joking about like I'm fucking going out and spreading it. I'm really not. I'm a hermit as a person. It's just more like if I have to spend X amount of hours at work, I'm allowing myself one karate class to somewhat make my life worth living while I am forced to endure the pandemic. Let
Uh,
me live.
the K-pop fans don't care about context. They'll just get that previous bit you said and take it out of context.
Nice.
We know that from experience. Um,
Good shit. Oh, as in personal experience, you're speaking to the fucking master of
yeah,
what's context, whatever I fucking decide it is for you. you're
Yeah.
an arsehole. Which I kind of am, but not for the reasons you think.
Australian Sana, give us your top five favorite K-pop songs of 2021.
Oh, good question. Let me get my playlist out because I came prepared. I did a playlist of best of 2021. God,
Hmm.
that fucking feels weird saying that's last year. Let's see. I found that the year overall was kind of disappointing. Like, not as many bangers as I am used to. Um, my playlist is best of 2021 has 30 songs. In comparison to previous years, 2020 had 30, but I found the quality overall was better.
Mm.
2019 had 40, 2018, 30. I found that the better part of K-pop from 2021 came from Twice's full-length album.
Yep.
So, I mean, we all know I like Twice, so it's not exactly like this is going to be a surprise to anyone. But yeah, Twice's album Formula of Love, I've got like 5 of their songs from that one album in my best of playlist. I don't know. It's hard to pick specific like 5 out of my 30. Um, oh, Yeppy Yeppy by aespa. It's a B-side from the album of Savage. Savage was good. Yeppy Yeppy is a fucking banger. I wish they performed it or something like that. It's just so good. So good. Such a good song.
Yep.
Um, I'm having a look through. I'm trying again. It's like it's a struggle to like pick ones that stand above the rest. Fuck it. I'll say Loco by Itzy, but the English version of it.
Hmm.
I don't know. The English version of that song works. It makes me think it was originally written in English and then translated into Korean. Just like the lyrics, they might be a little bit cringe at parts, but it sounds like, it's like cringe lyrics that you hear on the radio, not cringe lyrics like this doesn't make actual sense. Um, Twice is hard to pick because, like, again, I've got 5 of their songs off of one album here, so I'm going to pick one of them. But which one is my favorite? I don't know. I like Moonlight, or do I like The Feels is good. Like, that's a decent English song that they had. I didn't mind it. Icon has such good, like, Icon is like, banger. Like one of those, yes, I am the baddest bitch lyrics.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, let's see. So I've got Icon. We'll put Icon by Twice for that. We've got Itzy's Loco, aespa's Yappy Yappy. I've looped the shit out of aespa's Next Level, so we'll count that. And then because we all know I am number one Rose Nator, I'll put Gone by Rose, which was the B-side from her 2-song album
Yep.
that came out at the beginning of the year.
Are you happy that Rose finally got a comeback?
It took so fucking long. It's been a year. I'm like, finally got a comeback. I'm like, can we get one again? It's been a year, people. We need more Rose content. There was no Blackpink content last year because everyone's off doing solo shit and,
Mm.
good for you, whatever.
Yep.
I'm here for the Rose content more so. If Blackpink happens, That's good. It gives me
Hmm.
Rose in the verses. But I need another Rose solo. It's been a year. It's like crack withdrawals. I've got 2 songs.
I have a feeling you might be getting strung out there for a while.
Just a bit. YG giving a shit about any of the female talent on their roster? Yeah, I'm probably going to die of COVID before that happens.
What are your thoughts on the infamous Australian TV show, The Slap?
Ah,
I don't know
see,
what this is, by the way, so.
I don't think of the infamous Australian TV show, The Slap. I don't even know what that is. I know of The Slap from Nickelodeon teenage hit show from when I was a teenager, Victorious. And it was like their piss take on what MySpace or Facebook was. And it was like The Slap was what the profiles that the kids on the show would use as their social medias. And it would have like Tori Vega, who was the main character, writing like little status updates during the episode with like the little emoji at the end of it. I'll send you one at the end because they're
Right.
kind of memes. Like people obviously started like people used the blank template and wrote things that you normally wouldn't write on a Nickelodeon kids show,
Yep.
which therefore makes it funny. So that's what I think of The Slap.
Yeah, okay. I never heard of that slap. I never heard of this other slap they're asking about either, so I'm going to have to opt out of this one. Um,
Yeah.
Next question. On social media, the actor Adam Driver seems to have an army of fangirls. Could you please attempt an explanation for this? He's a pretty ugly dude, in my opinion.
I agree. Oh, he's one of those people who's like, he's kind of like Cillian Murphy, except I think Cillian Murphy's actually good looking. But he's like one of those really polarizing people in terms of whether you think he's good looking or not. And I would say, like, if you saw him on the street, you wouldn't think he's hot. And he's not hot as an actor.
I'm just
Like,
looking him
no
up.
offense to all of.
I don't
Pardon?
know what he looks like. I'm just having a look.
Yeah, look him up right now and just like Google search Adam Driver. Because, like, when I went to first. This is so bad. When I went to see the remake of, like, the new Star Wars
Oh, that's
trilogy,
that
because he's
Star
like,
Wars dude.
yeah, Kylo
Yeah,
Ren.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he's got like a really big honker. Not that inherently makes someone bad looking. That's again, it's a weird thing. It's not. He's not ugly. I just don't see him as hot, like as classically handsome or as like handsome to my standards.
He looks like
So when,
Keanu Reeves meets Marilyn Manson.
except I think Keanu Reeves is handsome.
Well, yeah,
Marilyn Manson.
but Marilyn Manson is really, really, really ugly. So if you combine
Yeah,
the two, you get a pretty ugly dude on average.
yeah. So, like, when I went to see Star Wars, and then, like, there's this whole scene where Kylo Ren reveals himself, I was so mad, because I'm just like, this is him. This is Han Solo and Leia's son. Han Solo was hot. Leia's hot. Why isn't their son hot? I'm ripped off. My generation got screwed. So yeah, I apologize to the legions of fans that he has. Like, you know, everything's all personal taste and personal opinion. So that's simply the explanation for why he does have the fans he does. I also think that the fact that he's not attractive in a conventional way means that people who are fans of him, who might typically just be average looking themselves, therefore have the illusion that he's somewhat attainable. And I feel like that's kind of a thing that people have going for them these days when they're looking for their celebrities and like teen heartthrobs and whatnot. Like that Noah Centino guy, if you Google that, find out who that is. He's in like a bunch of teen heartthrob um, movies or shit. And I was just like, really?
Hmm.
That's what you think is good looking kids? I mean, okay. Um,
So you think that maybe
yeah,
they're not aiming too high, so they've got more chance of reaching their goal,
exactly.
perhaps.
Deliberately. It's like, I'm not conventionally attractive. Therefore, I might actually date you, as opposed to, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio in his prime, handsome fucking fella, and totally out of my league, even on my best day. Same like with Johnny Depp or whatnot. But
Maybe,
now everyone's,
yeah. Maybe it's so like if you sort of get used to sexualizing a kind of dude who's not that hot, then when you
yeah,
finally do meet, the love of your life, and if he's not that hot, you'll be sort of used to that kind of level. You won't be too disappointed.
yeah.
Won't be too much of a
Oh, it
step
might be
down.
a Hollywood conspiracy. It's a Hollywood conspiracy to lower women's expectations and standards of male attractiveness, so that way we're more likely to settle for ugly men in real life. Not happening. I'm on to you.
They've been busted. AustralianSana's on you all.
Yep.
Dear. Um, a reader wants us to give a thematic analysis of the lyrics to Oh My Girl's Shark. Are you familiar with this song?
No, I am not.
Okay, I will read you the lyrics to the chorus to Oh My Girl's Shark so you know what we're trying to analyze here. And they are: feel like a shark, I can't believe it. Feel like a shark, life is a party. Feel like a
Mm-hmm.
shark, all we need is love. Don't waste time, hold on tight. Chicka chicka
mm-hmm.
choo, chicka chicka choo,
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Well, I'm going as that as my entire assumption of the song.
Mm.
I'm
It,
assuming they've done the song title as Shark because they're like, how do I say predator without saying a predator? But like they're assertive and they're not like, you know, feel like a shark. I'm not like, you know, let's take life as it is now. It's like I'm not gonna just wait for life to happen to me. I'm gonna be an independent, strong, powerful woman. I'm gonna be a fucking shark.
I assumed that they feel like, I just took it on face value. I thought they felt like a shark.
Like, I feel like some fucking tuna for dinner tonight.
Yeah. Um,
Are they trying to like cash in on the baby shark phase? I think they're a couple years late on that now, and everyone's slightly moved on a bit. I
Yeah,
mean, every parent of toddlers probably like, thank God they've moved on a bit. Don't bring her back.
yeah. I think Baby Shark's that's it's kind of in the
Past its
Gangnam
hype.
style. You know, it's passe.
Hmm.
People trying to forget. But yeah, I don't really have any analysis. It's they feel like a shark. That's I take it on
Hmm.
face value. Um,
They got gills.
guess so. I wonder what that feels like. I don't know. If you were scheduled to be Irene's on-set stylist for a whole day, what are your 5 rituals that you would perform to strengthen your mental fortitude?
I wouldn't need to strengthen shit because Irene is a boss bitch. I fucking love her. And I love this whole scandal. Because the whole scandal, and I use that in like, air quotes, is basically Irene essentially not being a placid little doll that everyone expects female idols to have to be. Because everyone kind of knows that idols in general have like certain expectations of how they're supposed to act, and that they're supposed to be really, really nice and really, really polite at all times, and always have to try and please everyone to be this perfect little representation of SM or whatever label they're a part of.
Hmm.
Because as soon as you stand up for yourself and act like a human being, then you're a scandal. And Irene's been in a couple of these kind of scandals hinted at before. Like she read a feminist book, that something born in 1984 or whatever the year book that
Hmm.
is. Like she got in a scandal for reading a feminist book. And there's a really good interview she did with a magazine called GQ back in like 2016 that I read. And I really, really liked that interview because it was like, it came across a lot more personal and real than a lot of very scripted, monitored answers that a lot of other interviews with idols can come across. So when it comes to this whole scandal that she had with this stylist, Red Velvet in general have had some pretty shit styling moments. Now that can mean visually a la Zimzalabath, that
Hmm.
horrid, horrid era from music video to styling to just song to everything. Awful. And then there's been moments when Red Velvet have done performances outside in December in Korea where it's snowing and like -2 degrees, and their stylist has dressed them in like mini skirts and tight tops with no jackets. So for Irene to get in a scandal with the stylist, I really just think that translates to stylist didn't do the job properly, and she actually told them they didn't do the job properly instead of just being like, oh no, that's fine, I'll wear this, that's okay, because that's my job, and I just have to do what everyone around tells me to do and put a smile on my face so that way I don't get bad reviews. Irene's been like, I've been fucking doing this for too long. I'm too old for this shit. Go do your fucking job right. And I salute her for it.
Yeah, I think idols I think have to take a lot of shit from like staff and stuff like that. They're the last ones to get paid, and
Mm,
there's a whole attitude of you know of we're doing you a favor. You know what I mean? And you should just be grateful for this opportunity.
mm-hmm,
How dare you want things like money or
mm.
respect or a life or freedom or
Exactly.
anything of those things?
It's something that I remember you wrote about in one of your blogs when we were talking, and I'm sure we both agree on this point. And it's like, when SM or when YG are recruiting,
Mm,
and say, for example, an idol's like, I want to be able to go to school and I want to have a work social life balance. If you actually try and demand basic rights for yourself, they're going to laugh you out the door
mm,
and instead sign a trainee who's just going to agree to every little thing that they demand out of them instead. It's like,
yep.
it's essentially your basic supply versus demand supply chain.
Mm, yeah, that's it.
There's so much of a demand for idols or people who want to be idols
Supply. Yeah.
versus, yeah, supply and demand. So the idols themselves, like, the trainees will have to put up with so much shit just to even get a debut.
Yep.
And then once they get there, it's the same kind of thing of there's so many idols who are in this market right now that you should be grateful that you even have a career. Because again, a market's completely oversaturated, has been for years. So that stylist, I'm betting, was banking on that kind of reception of idols being too afraid to speak up for themselves or stand up for themselves because they're so replaceable
Mm,
that they expected they could just treat Irene like shit and she wouldn't do anything about it. And then when Irene actually stood up for herself against them, they basically had a little tantrum on Instagram or whatever platform it was that they complained about her on.
Yep.
It's like, sorry, sweetheart, that's what a woman who actually is assertive looks like. Sorry you had to deal with that. Fragile ego just snapped.
That's it. Next, AustralianSana's thoughts on armies threatening people and BTS being seemingly okay with it. What about when
Yeah,
Taehyung apparently accidentally, lol,
like
followed
Jenny's.
followed Jenny and went and whined on Weverse like a loser, which gave his deranged fans a chance to somehow blame Jenny and slut shame her? That anti-bullying campaign is the biggest sham in the K-pop industry.
Honey, whoever's asking me this, go on to Tata Adventures and look at the pinned, it's either the pinned post or it's the post like in my link in my bio of me literally being a classic example of bullying from BTS fans who form a twisted narrative in their own mind of something or someone and use it to justify their completely shit treatment of fellow human beings who generally don't deserve it. So for me, I'm an anti because I think performing in Saudi Arabia, um, being paid for by the Saudi Arabian government, which is using blood money from genocide in Yemen, is not a good idea when you're a UNICEF ambassador for ending the war in Yemen. So that means I'm a horrible anti and racist and therefore deserve to die and be cancelled and whatnot. So there's no nuance, no context, no nothing there. It's just, oh, you're racist, you hate Muslims, you're Islamophobic. I'm like, mate, Saudi Arabia does not represent Islam. But again, that's context. We don't need to know anything about that. Oh, so yeah, if you criticize Saudi Arabia, you're Islamophobic, and that is literally the entire reason the Saudi government even booked them in the first place, because they knew that if anything becomes associated to BTS, you get this horde of an army, literally,
Mm.
who will defend the shit out of it. So ironically, they played into an authoritarian regime's exact plans for them on the internet, art washing their crimes against humanity and trying to make them seem like this progressive. So it's like, oh, it's actually good that BTS are performing in Saudi Arabia because they're actually making really good advances with like rights for women. So like women can drive there now. That's like cool. But yeah. So Taehyung, God bless my idiot son, follow Jenny on Instagram. Obviously, you don't accidentally follow someone. Maybe, like, if he followed her by accident, he would have been scrolling through, like, Instagram in general, because this is, like, their first Instagram that they're allowed to have, uh, suggesting that they haven't had their own private accounts for years. I'm assuming they have. So, he's just, like, making his own Instagram. I mean, when you first make an Instagram account, it does come up with suggested accounts for you to follow. So it's very possible he was just scrolling through them and clicked follow on Jenny and was like, oops, my bad,
Mm.
and unfollowed. But like the way that Army's just insanely reacted to that, and it's like, Jenny's out there steal our men. She's a man stealing slut. It's like, fuck off. Let the woman have an Instagram because she models for Calvin Klein, so she's got pictures of her in like a bra or something
Mm.
that's like, we can't let our oppa, precious oppa, innocent oppa who has never seen or had contact with a real woman see a woman's boobs. Like, get over it. And then like, I swear there's got to be some sort of shit in their contract that gags them from being able to go, hey, can you stop being a bunch of cunts for 5 seconds? because like, if he had any balls or any guts or any spine, it could have just been on Weaver. So could be like, hey, it was an accident. Leave her alone. I didn't mean to follow anyone by it. It's like, the I didn't mean to follow a part could very much be true. But it's like, how is that Jenny's fault in any way? Get off her dick, thank you.
Yes, yes. And well, look, I mean, I hope that she does do something with him. Um,
Mm.
maybe.
Fuck it. She already had the scandal with Kai, and I saw an edit once of like Jenny and Taehyung because they're both like Gucci before Jenny became signed with Chanel. She was like human Gucci. So like someone edited a picture of like Gucci wearing Taehyung and Gucci wearing Jenny together, and I was like, ooh, that's kind of a vibe. So fucking hope it happens and they rot and seethe and just fizzle in their own jealousy and like self-induced rage fit or whatever. Fucking go for your life.
Do you know anyone who finds Vin Diesel attractive?
Ooh.
And do you have any
Um,
theories as to why his movies are popular?
uh, family.
What?
uh, if you know the Fast and Furious franchise, that's a classic stitch up. Basically, it's his family for the entire film is his motivation for everything.
Right. Okay.
Uh, for family. um, I don't know about whether I don't find him ugly. I mean, I find him better looking than Adam Driver. I'll give him that. The
You're
guy's
right.
like buff and he's like shredded,
Mm,
and he's like I say, he's not ugly. He's not ugly. Like if you look at his face, he's not like he might not be the most conventionally attractive person on the planet, but he's definitely not someone I'd find physically repulsive.
mm,
Movie wise, I would say he is a niche actor. Like Vin Diesel plays Vin Diesel in every movie that he's in,
yeah.
and it's like he's kind of like Sylvester Stallone, but you
Mm,
know, like stoic action man kind of stuff.
yep.
Last year, like he did the triple like XXX movie, which sounds like a porno from the title, but it's
Mm,
basically like a buff James Bond movie action kind of sort of thing that he did. That's what I reckon remember him from. But I most like anyone who, if you say Vin Diesel, everyone's going to remember him from the Fast and the Furious franchise.
I did a review
And
of the Vin Diesel movie with that also had Chris Wu in it. Did you read that?
what one was that one? Was it? Oh,
XXX Return of Xander Cage. Um,
yeah.
because the reader's just asking for your opinion on my review of that.
Oh, I did do the XXX movie, which I was talking about. I didn't know you did a review on it, so I'll have to
Oh,
have a
you
look at
didn't know?
that.
Okay, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I didn't think you'd read it. That's cool.
Mm. But no, I reckon he's hilarious. Not hilarious, but I reckon he's funny in an unintentionally funny way with the family thing. And
Yeah,
like, yeah, he's a good time.
cool,
So
cool.
he's the kind of like action movie that you watch when you want something dumb to just scroll along on your phone and like barely pay attention to. Which you know,
Hmm,
I'm autistic as shit. I need entertainment like that allows me to do like 50 things at once. So I have no chance of a thought occurring in my brain. So
hmm,
he's good for that.
cool. For the last decade or so, companies like JYP and SM have constructed their idol groups with partial aim of appealing to the Chinese, such as Super
Mm-hmm.
Junior M, XOM, Miss A Chinese members, etc. Even as recent as aespa, SM have made an effort of having Chinese appeal. With China government cracking down on idol survival shows, the glorification of wealth, etc., do you think in future we'll see less Chinese-speaking members in K-pop groups and other such Chinese market focused advertising pushes?
Very interesting question. So China in general has like a lot of government crackdowns on a lot of government industries and regulations and all that kind of stuff. Like China is a superpower. It's like you don't want to be xenophobic or xenophobic, but you know, not all white governments are the like you know, it's not just white governments that are capable of doing some horrific shit.
Hmm,
It's like you know, if you look into the Uyghur situation, if you want more information on China being terrifying. Um, when it comes to this side of things, it's a bit like, I mean, this is like one of those really badly out of context tweets that it's like if I saw it out of context, I would be like, oh, you fucking cunt. Don't be such a cunt. But I wrote a tweet, like basically the rules that China started implementing in regards to like idols and Chinese idols working in Korea and Korean idols being able to work in China came out right as WJSN were about to debut.
hmm,
So I was just like, fuck, they may as well just disband, shouldn't they? And I was just like, and then I read that out of context. I'm like, no, they're not a bad group. I like their music. They have good songs. I'm not telling them to disband. I'm just saying their entire market model that they were created around just instantly collapsed
yep.
because they were a group that had quite a few Chinese members and was meant to promote both across Korea and China. And I'm a fan of Infinite, as many would know. And for a period in like 2015, Infinite were balling with the money that they were getting from gigs in China for quite a while as well. They're quite popular. They were quite popular over there. They don't even exist anymore. So were popular in any context is a
Mm,
word past tense. But yeah, they were getting a lot of like gigs in China and all that stuff. And then this is when they started bringing in those like rules. And then like people say that it does it, like, oh, China's eased the regulations, China's not doing that anymore, and like, what was it? Anytime a BTS member has a birthday, there's always some sort of Chinese fan base backed project that's like millions of dollars worth of shit. So it's like,
Mm,
I think there's always gonna still be some market from the Chinese fan base,
yep.
but it's just gonna be a lot more restricted and a lot more limited. But then sometimes people find the restriction of something to make it even more appealing because it's like, you tell me no, that makes me want to do it more.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I think a lot of the crackdowns in China, I think a lot of them are really just um they're I'm not saying they're not real, but a lot of it's for show.
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese government sort of showing out how Chinese they can be, and I think on the ground it doesn't always necessarily play out quite so strictly. Um, and I think this might be one of those sort of situations where quite a bit of stuff still is actually happening. It's just not acknowledged. It's
Yeah, like we also got to consider the fact that China's population alone is like over 1 billion people. So as much as the government, especially a communist government, may seem to be representative of that population,
mm,
there's so many people there that you can't really control them all, and that this is obviously like a measure that's meant to simulate the illusion of having control over 1 billion people, but the
mm,
reality is they don't.
yeah, that's it. I mean, yeah, plenty of Chinese people visit my site.
Yeah.
uh, so they're not that controlled.
Mm.
They find a way. Um,
It's called a VPN.
mhm. Between 2NE1 and Blackpink, who would have done a better stab at Rania's style if it didn't leave the YG building, assuming that the song stays the same way we got it? Is the question.
That's the problem. I only know Dr. Feelgood by Rania,
Oh,
so
I don't know Style. Style was a song that was actually written by the YG's
Ted,
songwriting team and
I was going to say, I'm pretty
outsourced
sure
to
Teddy
Rania.
wrote a song for them at one point.
Yeah, that was the one. Um, and yeah, I really like the song actually. Um, but I mean, honestly, I don't think it would have really mattered. I mean, my position on these things is I don't really think it matters that much who sings a song a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting,
Because a lot of them, yeah,
yeah,
ultimately it's A, still going to be the same song.
yeah,
Um, B, it's also going to be edited in a way that it's how the company envisions the song itself. So
mm,
it's like, YG has a particular idea on how they want style to sound.
mm,
They're going to edit 21 or they're going to edit Blackpink into singing it in the way that they want them to sing it.
mm,
So it doesn't really make much of a difference. Low key think that question's bait to be like, who do you really think is better between Blackpink or 21? And it's like, I like Blackpink more on a personal level, just as preference, but like, I think that the way that what 21 were disbanded and YG rushed out Blackpink straight afterwards was atrocious.
yeah,
Like, if there was a recent quote that came out from CL saying that she only found out about 21's disbandment from like news articles, and that her phone was blowing up, like they didn't even
mm,
tell them that they were disbanding, and that they were all under the impression that they were meant to be having like another album or a goodbye farewell thing coming out. So I was like,
yeah,
yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
mm,
So, and it's like, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, look, I don't think it matters who would have done it. I mean, YG's YG, and I mean, if 2NE1 had lasted, they would have been getting the Blackpink songs, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there was.
And
I think there's a rumor, whether it's rumor or not, that Maji Makchodam, or As If It's Your Last, was originally recorded even by 21.
mm,
Um,
yeah, and there's no
yeah,
reason why it couldn't have been, or any of their songs. I
it,
mean,
it like, look, this is such a controversial thing within the like Blackpink YG 21 sort of fandoms
mm,
is that like Blackpink were created as a replacement 21 group. And that's essentially, well, it's like, well, that's, you could say the same about what EXO was for Super Junior
mm,
and all of that business. It's like, once you reach a certain time limit as an idol and your company's shit, which goes for virtually all of them, then all they're going to care about is um, coming out with the next one instead.
they got to keep the
So,
next lot of young people hooked in.
yeah, like,
The young people aren't
and
going to go for someone who might be pushing 30 or whatever. They're going to
I
want
know, you don't
someone
want to be
closer to
my
their
age.
age.
Yeah. So, the thing about my argument in that regard has always been not that Blackpink are evil for killing 21, because obviously they didn't have shit to do with that side of stuff.
Mm,
My argument for it has always been that, like, because YG himself has literally been quoted as saying, like, when he was like asked about it during early Blackpink press conferences of like, oh, aren't they just a prettier version of 2NE1? And he was like, yeah, so what?
yeah, what's
Like,
your
he
point?
literally just, yeah, he literally just straight up admits to it. And
Mm,
as a fan of Blackpink, that annoyed the shit out of me.
mm,
Because I'm like, well, why would you just make a group to be a replacement of another group when this group itself has clearly talented members who are capable of having their own sound instead?
mm,
It's like, you do realize it's possible to actually still keep 21 and have them exist and keep doing music for the established fan base that they've created for themselves and debut Blackpink and have them have different sounds that then could create even more revenue for you. Because it's like, if someone's a fan of, say, a unique Blackpink style of music, and someone is a fan of a unique 21 style of music, they might not be the same fandoms.
yeah.
So that just means it gives you an even bigger share of the market. So that makes no sense to me as a stan. Like, there can only be one girl group. And it's like, that there can only be one girl group mantra is so true across so many like labels. Like, JYP is one of the fucking worst at it. It's like, it's just basically like they churn them out, and as soon as they get bored of whatever girl group they're with, so it was like, it was Wonder Girls, and then Miss A was kind of like a Chinese project group rather than like a really solidly invested in Korean group.
Mm,
It's like they just became Susie and Friends after
yeah.
she had some popular dramas. And then what's the other one? Twice obviously became their next big hit. And then after Twice, there was ITZY. So it's like, when ITZY came out, it was like Twice became more on the back burner. And if you look at things like Daysangs and you look at things like awards, Twice has, like, they've still churning out albums to continue to get the money off of the existing fans of Twice, but they're not putting them on shows like, Knowing Brothers
Mm,
or other sorts of variety shows that could continue to expose them to the general public. There was a whole issue over Twice's new album, which, as I mentioned before, is fucking fantastic. But there's an issue from Korean fans that they didn't even know the new album came out because there was so little promotion that was done for it. Because JYP just expects, once you hit a certain plateau, you're dead to us. Survive on your own.
well, the idea is that if you've already got an established group that has established fan base, then you don't really need to promote them as much because they don't need the push. They'll sell anyway, and
Mm.
so they put those resources onto the new thing, and that's been the
Yeah,
case with and yeah.
like I said, that's every group that we've been talking about.
Mm. Sorry if you've answered this before, but why do you like professional wrestling?
Ah, I don't think I've ever had a specific question on why. I just remember that I like used to love it as a kid.
Mm,
It's theater. It's like theater on crack, and it's so much fun. Because it's like, it's the stage and the storytelling of theater, but instead of musicals where you obviously use songs, it's physicality. So it's like an action movie, but you're creating a more um, vibrant character rather than just say you're
yeah.
Vin Diesel. You've got different types of actors, and wrestling tells stories in matches.
Mm,
And I guess it's like, it's kind of one of those things that it's like, you either get it or you don't, and it's very difficult to describe it to someone who doesn't get it.
mm,
But just the fun of it, the spectacle of it, the athleticism that can be involved in it, and the varying degrees, because you'll get some wrestlers who are like super athletic, who can pull off incredible stunts. Like, for example, there's a guy in WWE called Ricochet, and he does like fucking backflips and like somersaults as part of his moves. And then you get insane guys like Jeff Hardy who just like throw themselves off ladders. And then you get guys who are like good wrestlers, as in technical wrestling, like a guy named Okada in Japan or Bryan Danielson in AEW. And then you get, my favorite ones are the characters. So like, there's this guy who's currently the AEW champion. His name's Hangman Adam Page, and his gimmick is being a cowboy. That's some fun shit.
mm.
Sometimes I just want some cowboy shit in my life. And that's what I get when I watch wrestling.
Cool, cool. Did you ever try and do the Koreaboo nightlife experience by getting drunk on soju?
Ugh. Horrible shit. Horrible shit. I wouldn't call that a Korea boo experience. I would call that anyone who is in Korea an experience. Because soju is like so fucking cheap over there. So, in Australia, all alcohol is extremely expensive because our government has massive taxes on it.
Mm.
In Korea, I don't think that's the case. Because in Korea, I could go to, like, your general convenience store that's like, so like in Australia, we have this old saying of "Gan servo, y'all want anything?"
Yeah.
So if you Gan servo, you go into like the little service station shop where everything's like super overpriced and a bit of a pain in the ass, really. Whereas Korea, servo, or 7-Eleven, those kind of shops, everything is super cheap in there. So it's like if I want to get a sausage roll from the servo in Australia, that's $5. If I want to get something like a snack from a servo in Korea, $2.
Mm.
Way cheaper. And they retail soju. And soju was like 2001 a bottle, which is like $2 Australia. So imagine in Australia being able to go to a shop that is just on your corner and buying vodka or gin or some other high percentage alcohol spirit that's going to get you fucking wasted fucking quickly for $2
Mm.
with at least, like, I think it's either 6 or 8 standard drinks per bottle. So yeah, I have had the experience of being white girl wasted off soju. And that's not a Korea boo experience, that's just anyone who's been to Korea experience.
Yeah, I don't drink, but I've tried soju because I've bought it for my partner, and she quite likes it because she doesn't mind vodka, and it's just like a half-strength vodka. She likes like the yogurt flavors and all that sort of stuff. She's
I like,
the
it's like, I don't like it at all. Like, I have PTSD off getting too wasted off it. But, I like the peach flavor. That one's quite
yeah,
nice. They
cool.
have like peach flavor, watermelon flavor, that kind of stuff. That stuff's good.
Mm.
But like straight soju as a spirit, oh, no, 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 no. War flashbacks.
um, Actor Nicolas Cage is in a lot of debt, so he's currently taking practically any film role. Similarly, Bruce Willis is willing to act in practically anything for a few days of shooting. If you had to make a film about any aspect of the K-pop industry using Cage as the lead and Willis as a supporting, what would the general plot be and what roles would these actors play?
Wait. I'm surprised. How the fuck is Nick Cage in debt? How are you a millionaire? Like, how are you like, one of the biggest names in Hollywood and lose that kind of money? Like, I know me being broke isn't a shock to anyone because I'm a born poor millennial. How the fuck are you, like, loaded and then lose that loaded?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the background. I don't.
I know, that annoys me. I'm like, how are you that stupid? Um, what movie would I make with K-pop? I don't know. Let's say let's say the decision to disband 21, starring Nicolas Cage as YG and Bruce Willis as CL.
It's good.
Thank
Um,
you.
they want me to answer it too, but I'm not, I don't know if I can top that. I don't know. Maybe Nicolas Cage as CEO of BlackBerry, and Bruce
What even goes on with Luna these days?
and Bruce Willis can be Chew, and
I'd pay to see that.
and you know,
He has to do True solo. He has to do Heart Attack.
yeah, and
It's like, you attack my heart. It was Bruce Willis doing it. He could be dressed as like, either he's dressed in full Chew cosplay,
yeah,
or he's like reenacting a scene from Die Hard, but it's with Chew's music and he's singing it.
yeah. I think that would be that'd be good. The heart attack video shoot. Um, Next question, is there any technical or musical reason why girl groups tend to have better songs than boy groups in general? I'm assuming that part of the reason is because boy groups don't have to put as much of an effort to succeed. They already have a hardcore fan base.
literally what I was about to
Yeah,
say.
these questions and answers themselves are pretty good, aren't they?
Fucking brilliant. Yeah, because girl groups have to appeal to the general public, whereas boy groups rely more on an established fandom. Therefore, girl groups actually have to put out good songs because people who don't have an invested interest in them are who they're trying to make like their music.
There you go. Easy. That was an easy one.
Low ball. That was a lob.
Who are your favourite and least favourite producers in K-pop? Can be foreign producers as well, as long as they've done K-pop.
I think I quite like Kenzie, but I don't know if they were involved with I Got a Boy, so they lose points if they were.
Mm.
Like, but when they're on, they're on. Um, they've done a lot of Red Velvet stuff, and I generally do quite like Red Velvet, but not Simsalabim. We've already established that. It's like it's hard to describe. I know that like I used to really like Sweet Tune
Mm.
back in like their prime when they were doing Infinite's best music, like The Chaser. Like The Chaser will never be topped as a K-pop song to me. That is just like flawless music. So I kind of have to like Sweet Tune for that.
Mm.
And then they had like they split and then some of them went into somewhere called Mono Tree
Yep.
and then they actually did quite a bit of Luna's music.
Mm.
So they had some fucking bangers too, but it's like, I describe this as music, I describe this as fashion, I describe this as art. It's like you can have a really good hit ratio, but there's always just going to be some shit stuff in there. Like Shinsadong Tiger and the stuff that they did for Tiara. Like they had some really good songs, and I don't know who it was, but there's like one person who's involved with creating G that like every time that they write a new song, they're like, the original songwriter of G has written more music, it's gonna be amazing, and then
That's
it turns out to be just like really mediocre.
that's E-Tribe.
So it's like, pardon?
E-Tribe.
Yeah, that would be
Mm.
done then. So it's like, I don't necessarily have a favorite composer, but every now and then it's like if I look at an artist's I mean, again, I don't pay attention to K-pop these days the way that I used to, but I used to like, if I saw Sweet Tune on a artist's credits in the past, I'd be like, oh shit, they're gonna have a banger, fuck yeah.
Mm.
And then, oh no, who did and like the complete opposite of that is the people who took over for Infinite's music after Sweet Tune kind of cracked shit the bed was Ralphabet or however you say their name, and I was
Mm.
like, oh fucking stay away from them because like they had one good song and then the rest of it was just so bad, so bad. So I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, and then there's others who are like as much as I say, oh, I like Sweet Tune. Sweet Tune are a fucking one-trick pony,
Mm.
and they used to present themselves as being like this super exclusive writing team that like we'll only write for this artist because we only think that they're worthy of our fantastic music. Nah, mate. The only reason, and then like they said it as in like, oh, it's because we want to really work on creating a specific sound for this artist. It's like, nah, mate. It's literally because you're literally only capable of creating one type of music, and that is 80 synth pop bangers.
Mm.
And I love a good 80 synth pop banger. Not going to complain about that. But they're literally incapable of writing any other sort of style of music.
Yep.
Like if you listen to a Kara song, a Rainbow song, an Infinite song, they all start to blend together.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I've always sort of steered away from liking particular producers because the way I see it is a producer's only good as what they're being told to do and whether it
Mm,
fits into their capabilities. I mean, every songwriter that I like has also produced something that I think sucks or that has gotten onto
mm,
one of my shit lists or whatever. And it's because, they're not necessarily the ones who are always in control of what they're
mm,
writing. They might be getting told, all right, well, we've got this particular image for this group. We want to have a song which sounds a bit like this, and that might be something that's completely out of your songwriter's comfort zone. So then they're working
mm,
within a format that they're not very good at, and so, you know, like I mean, I should say, I really like Shinsadong Tiger because he did all those Tiara hits, but he's also done a lot of shit because obviously he's being occasionally told, all right, well, you have to write a song like this, and it might be something that's not really his bag. I mean, if someone asked me to write a jazz song, I'd probably suck
mm.
because I don't like jazz,
uh,
right?
put, a,
So,
put a picture of Barry B. Benson from the B movie going, so you like jazz? That could be the image for our podcast this week.
who? Sorry?
Ah, fuck, I'll send you the picture in like the DM or whatever. But it's Barry B. Benson is the name of the character from the B movie, and there's just like a thing of him going, "So you like jazz?" That's immediately what I thought of when you said that.
Right.
It's the B from the B movie.
Right. Okay. Um, here's a question you're going to love. So get ready and try not to fly off the handle until I read out the whole thing, okay? Because you're going to want to. Um, I'll tell you when you can start. All right. Um, if Twitter is pretty toxic in general and affecting your mental health, why do you continue to use it? It's a cesspool for
Mhm.
fake woke people that cancel things for the sake of appearing morally superior to others, rather than actually caring about social issues. It's a place
Mm.
where sheep mentality reigns and you'll get attacked if you don't agree with the majority. It's the app where people were trying to cancel Billie Eilish for mouthing the lyrics of a song when she was 13, and where Sungri
Mm.
is a victim of false accusations. I
Mm.
feel like you only interact with armies on Twitter, and it's giving you a pretty jaded view of armies. No, no army I've ever met in real life thinks BTS isn't K-pop, worships HYB, hates some people for having different opinions, etc., etc. We all kind of agree those who do that are Twitter armies, and they're pretty whack. All right, now you can go.
Okay. So actually, this is, funnily enough, something that I literally wrote my university graduating essay on. So I have an essay that is titled um, "Foster How Stan Twitter Fosters a Culture of Cyberbullying." It's called "Turning Dog Whistles into Sirens: How Stan Twitter
Mm,
Fosters a Culture of Cyberbullying." And part of what that question was asking was literally included as what my essay was on.
mm,
Specifically, that part of why do you even use Twitter anyway? Because for some people, there's no other alternative for the social media connections that it can provide. So, Twitter, by and large, I agree. Fucking cesspool. My thesis, or it's not a thesis, it wasn't long enough to be a thesis, but my essay cited statistics on cyberbullying and how it thrives in that environment because of the lack of regulation, just the nature of the app itself. And like, as much as you want to pat yourself on the back and feel good about, like, I'm not like the other girls, I'm a normal army. Nah, mate, you're fucking part of that fan base, and you don't get to morally distance yourself from them and feel better about it because you don't use the app. You're all part of the same group. You're part of them. You're one of them. It's like, I mean, in my life don't act like that. That's nice. The ones who sent me death threats did, and you're all under that same banner. You're all army. So you're not just because you want to. It's like me saying I'm not like other white people. It's like, as a collective group, we fucking suck. So instead of trying to assert individual deniability, look at the collective issue. You're a fucking bunch of cunts.
Any chance of your essay, How Stan Twitter Fosters a Culture of Cyberbullying, being made available to the public, or maybe?
Yeah, I can work on something that I can send to you and you can publish on the Kpopalypse blog if you want.
Cool, that'd be great because I think that's something that my readers would really like to read.
Cool. Yeah, I'd have to dilute it because like certain people were interviewed who would not give like you were included in it,
Yeah, sure.
and you were very like, yeah, fuck yeah, put me in it, and like I don't care if you put my name and you can reference this. But other people who I interviewed did want to remain anonymous
Mm,
because again, part of what I'm talking about in terms of why do you even use Twitter anyway? Twitter is an unfortunate necessity for a lot of jobs, particularly in journalism, and how I made friends on Twitter and other social media platforms. This is Facebook as well. This is definitely Facebook as well, so it's not just a Twitter exclusive thing.
mm,
But we all know that I'm very much outspoken on things. I don't give a shit if people like me, so therefore I just say what I think and what I feel. And people who were restricted by their jobs and professionalism came across my tweets, came across my Facebook posts, my YouTube channel that I vaguely ran at the time, and they liked the fact that I was saying the things that they could not say and keep their job.
yeah.
So they were people who I also spoke to about it, and it's like, Yeah, it's like Twitter's a necessity in meeting and networking and growing a platform and growing a reader base. Especially if you're in journalism,
Yep.
which I'm not. I'm just here for a fucking good time. And you're like, why do you only interact with armies? My major Twitter account that I'm using these days is like virtually barely any K-pop at all. I just occasionally will tweet a link to like an old Kara video from 10 years ago going, iconic, before talking about pro wrestling.
Yep.
So I don't. It's like, bro, I'm not as obsessed with you as you wish I was. You're the ones who keep bringing me up, even though I like was suspended a fucking year or two ago from that other account that I had.
Yep. Next question. Do you think
Like
travel?
you could literally.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, literally Twitter search Australian Sana. Bitches still talking about me on the daily. It's called being an icon.
That's true, actually. It's like you come up from time to time, so and you know,
I do.
and this is one of
It's
the
been
reasons.
fucking years, mate.
It's one of the reasons why I keep doing this with you because obviously you're
I know.
still
I'm like,
relevant.
I know. It's like, who the fuck cares? Why can't you bitches give me money?
You can give if you bitches want to give Australian Sana money, just be aware that the Kpopalypse Patreon is out there. Just send me a message when you sign up saying this money is for Australian Sana, and I'll take care of business. Um, Next question is only a couple more. Do you think that Travis Scott should be charged with manslaughter and go to prison?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, because he had that concert thing.
The
Like,
concert where a whole
oh,
bunch of people
fuck.
died, yeah, in the crush.
Yeah. So this is like, it's a difficult thing because I remember, for example, there was a concert that 4 Minute did where people climbed on top of a grate to try and see them, and then the
Mm,
grate collapsed and fell through and they died. So it's like, do 4 Minute deserve to go to jail?
mm,
But how much responsibility does Travis Scott have for his own events and the organization and the management of them versus a standard K-pop group? So
yeah.
I don't know his level of involvement.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I did look into that a fair bit because I was getting a lot of questions about that when that whole situation came out because people know I've got a background in that sort of stuff. And it's true that when you're a performer, often you have got a very limited view of what's actually going on in the audience. You can't necessarily tell what's happening. And I did a whole post on SNSD and their Black Ocean and how um, and people were like, oh, they're so brave to perform and smile when they had a black ocean. And my point I made in that post was that they wouldn't have even known that they had a black ocean until somebody told them afterwards. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and that was proven to be true. I remember reading an interview, like an article years later, where they were asked about it, and they said, "Oh, we didn't know, but we cried after the show when someone came up and told us and said, oh, they all turned off their light sticks or whatever." Um, and yeah, when you're up on stage, often you can't really see that well. It's often hard to work out what's going on. And that's not to say that things might have been a little bit different in his case, because I assume there would have been people who would have been able to talk to him through his foldback or whatever. Um, it can be really difficult with a big event like that to really
Mm.
have a handle on it. Mind you, I also think that some of the things I've heard about the way that event was managed were really quite bizarre.
Yeah.
It's safety wise. There were the most strange one was um they actually had instructions before anything happened. It was actually in their contract that if somebody died at the venue, they were to refer to dead people as I think Smurfs.
Mm.
Rather than dead people, because if they started saying the word dead, people might start panicking or whatever if they were overheard or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it's a really strange thing. I'd be interested to see what the legal proceedings bring out of it, because it certainly seems like it's the sort of thing I think could go either way to some extent.
Mm. Like, I definitely think someone needs to be held accountable.
Yeah, there's definitely, if nothing else, there's definitely some sort of safety procedures that should have been followed that weren't. If a situation like that to even happen in the first place, because crowds don't, there's been crowds don't just sort of crush randomly like that. Something makes that happen. So, there should be ways to mitigate that sort of stuff, surely. Um, but yeah, but I mean, what do I know? I'm not privy to the entire thing, so. Yeah, hopefully they find some resolution from it. But yeah, it's pretty sad. Last question for you.
Hmm.
Why do some people deny the impact of Gangnam Style by saying it make K-pop look stupid?
Oh, because they wish their faves were the one to go viral instead.
Yep, fair enough. Um, yeah, I think it's that. Maybe it's actually, yeah, it's just that. That's what it is. If it was BTS in 2012, you never hear the end of
Yeah,
it. All right, look, thank you. That's it. That's the end of this. We actually kept it under an hour. It's just gone an hour.
managed to do that. Legend.
Yes, very good. Um, Thank you for doing this. We'll do it again at some point in the future, if you could be bothered, that is.
Yep.
And cool, awesome. So, folks, send your questions in. Thanks for the questions this time round. I only had to chop one or two out. They were almost all really, really good quality questions. So, thanks for that. Um, the ones I had to chop out were ones where people had sent videos, and we're not going to watch a video on stream because of copyright. And also because it just makes it. I mean, we got an audio link up. We don't have a visual link up, so we're not seeing the same thing at the same time. So it just doesn't work. So don't send us a video link and what do you think of this video? Because we ain't gonna watch it. Um,
Yep.
but anyway, that's it. Thank you once again,
Anytime.
and yeah, have a good night and stay safe.
Yeah. Hope not. Just let me die already.
and
I've seen enough shit.
and send that article, and I'll make it available to everyone
I'll get there eventually, but I'm working a lot, so just like eventually.
in your own time.
Exactly.
All right, no worries. Goodbye.
Bye.